What would you do if you were thrown into the notorious Arkham Asylum without warning or reason by a corrupt GCPD officer? How would you survive the first night in the dark in the dangerous nut house on the hill? Arkham Asylum is a notorious mental hospital located in the city of Gotham and is home to some of the most nefarious villains in the DC universe. It is a place of terror where the inmates run the asylum, and the only thing that stands between the world and its destruction is a thin line of sanity. How can you ever survive this? The first thing to do is take a breath and try to remain calm. Remind yourself that whatever happens in this prison, you're still the same person you were before. You have the inner strength and courage to survive whatever comes your way. Secondly, don't lose focus on how serious the situation actually is. Focus on the here and now. Take in your surroundings and remember, you have control over your thoughts and feelings. It may seem impossible, but you can survive any situation you're thrown into. With a clear head and a strong spirit, you will be able to make it through the first night and beyond. As the prison guards lead you down the darkened hallways, you can feel the eyes of the Joker, TwoFace, and the Riddler upon you. The anticipation hangs in the air like smoke, and you can feel the weight of the situation pressing down on you. You know that you have to make a decision and fast. What will you do? The first thing to do is find their psychological weaknesses. You are a nobody, so act dumb. Conceal your real plans, and you'll be able to pull the wool over their eyes in no time. Use their underestimation of you as an advantage. Prepare to outsmart your opponents when the time comes. Let's start with the Joker, the crown prince of crime. The Joker is one of the most notorious villains in Arkham Asylum. He's an anarchist and a master of chaos, with a penchant for cruel jokes and a willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. The Joker's primary weakness is that he has no real plan. He is driven by chaos and enjoys playing mind games, which can make him unpredictable. To outsmart the Joker is a psychological battle. You must be able to anticipate his next move and outmaneuver him with strategy. You must also be willing to take risks and be comfortable with an element of unpredictability. Whatever you choose to do, it must be unexpected and unpredictable, but more on this later. Two-Face can be considered psychopathic, and the best way to survive psychopathic killers, if you cannot totally avoid them, is to avoid direct confrontation. Don't challenge the psychopath, and don't act aggressively. Stay calm. Don't show any signs of fear or agitation, or they might think of you as their next victim. Finally, the Riddler. One must first understand his motivations and triggers. Edward Nygma is a genius who prefers to exercise his intelligence through puzzles, riddles, and intellectual challenges. He derives pleasure from being able to outwit those around him, so the best way to outsmart him is to think of a way to challenge him intellectually. This can be done by proposing a difficult intellectual puzzle or challenge that he cannot solve. For instance, you might propose a game of chess with a twist. The pieces on the board represent different characters from Arkham Asylum, and the goal of the game is to move them around in a way that creates a story. The Riddler would be intrigued by this challenge, and it would give him something to focus on, rather than trying to figure out how to harm you. Now that you have uncovered the chinks in your adversary's armor, it's time to devise a grand strategy. You'll need to be swift and decisive, carefully constructing a master plan to avoid a chaotic and potentially disastrous confrontation. When facing multiple enemies, it is important to focus on the underlying issues that divide them. By understanding and exploiting those divisions, you can turn the adversaries against each other. To turn the three of them against each other, you would need to subtly manipulate each of them to make them think they're being wronged or betrayed by one of the others. Make sure to be vague, so they will have to speculate and fill in the blanks, making them more likely to jump to conclusions. For example, you could tell Two-Face that the Joker and Riddler are planning to double-cross him and are planning something sinister. To the Joker, tell him that Two-Face and the Riddler are plotting to overthrow him and take control of the asylum. And to the Riddler, tell him that Two-Face and the Joker are plotting to use him as a scapegoat for some sinister plan. Once the seeds of suspicion and mistrust have been planted, you can then amplify the tension by making sure that the three of them are placed in situations where they are competing for the same goal. This will enable you to conserve your energy and resources until Batman jumps in to save you. But you're just a background character in Gotham without plot protection, and Batman probably won't care too much about you. But what would you do if you were trapped in Arkham?